You need to understand this. Hackers can learn way too much about you just from your public Wi-Fi connection. Let's talk about it. So let's say you go to a library, right? You decide to connect to their public Wi-Fi. What you're basically doing is sending out a broadcast to the entire world that says, hey, I am here, and this is who I am. When you connect to an unsecured public Wi-Fi network, it typically doesn't require you to sign in or provide any personal information. They allow you to enter an IP address and immediately discover the country, state, city, and even ISP of the person or entity connected to that address. If you then connect to your home's Wi-Fi from the library, a hacker can now associate your name with your IP address and possibly even your social security number. Even if you don't provide any personal information when connecting to a public Wi-Fi network, a hacker can still learn your general location, the devices you use, and even some personal details just by looking up your IP address. It's important to be aware of this so that you can take steps to protect yourself. This is why it's important to be cautious when connecting to public Wi-Fi networks. A simple Google search can reveal a lot of personal information. This will help to ensure that even if a hacker does manage to capture your username and password, they still won't be able to access your accounts without the second form of authentication. With all that information, a hacker can easily find out what kind of organization you work for, where you live, so make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay informed. We talk about cybersecurity, data privacy, and emerging technologies. And it's all pretty cool stuff. And even some personal details like your name and maybe even your social security number. VPN encrypts your internet traffic, making it difficult for hackers to capture and analyze your data. You should also be careful about what information you access over public Wi-Fi. For example, it's probably not a good idea to access your bank account or other sensitive information over a public Wi-Fi network. However, what a hacker can learn about you from that action alone might surprise you. When you connect to a public Wi-Fi network, your device receives an IP address from the router, allowing it to communicate with other devices on the network. But many routers also have a mechanism to send information back to the device. It's called a DNS response. Take steps to protect yourself and be cautious about what information you access over public Wi-Fi. Use a VPN, strong passwords, and two-factor authentication to keep your data safe. First off, a hacker can determine your general location. Most IP addresses are geographically specific. For example, an IP address from the 8.8 range is associated with Google's public DNS servers, so anyone connecting to those servers are likely in the United States. There are other ranges for other countries. There's one for Asia, one for Europe, one for Africa, etc. Now, these ranges are incompletely accurate since anyone can connect to any server at any time, but it still paints a general picture. That information could include the device's MAC address, operating system, browser information, and more. A hacker who has set up a rogue Wi-Fi hotspot can capture this information and build a profile of the device and its owner. With just an IP address, a lot of things can be discovered about you. If you want to get fancy, there are IP address geolocation tools available online. For example, if you connect to your company's VPN from a public library, a hacker can identify your company and through a bit of research find out who works there. One way to do this is by using a VPN when connecting to public Wi-Fi. And finally, make sure to use strong passwords and two-factor authentication whenever possible. There are other risks associated with public Wi-Fi networks, and we plan on discussing them in future videos. But for now, just remember that when you connect to a public Wi-Fi network, you're essentially broadcasting your location and some personal information to the entire world. And one last thing before you go, all the information presented in this video is for educational purposes only. Please use it responsibly and ethically. Don't be a jerk. Alright, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.